All right. In this lesson, I'm going to give you an introduction to AI. So, artificial intelligence or AI refers to the development of computer programs and systems that can perform tasks that normally require human intelligence. So, some examples are visual perception, speech recognition, decision making, and language translation. AI systems can be trained to recognize patterns in large amounts of data and make predictions based on that data. So I know we have fears about dystopian futures and iRobot becoming like a real thing and whatnot. And I'm not saying that that is completely impossible because we really don't know the capacity of this technology at this time, but it's in its very elementary stages. And the input is going the quality of the input is going to determine the quality of the output. So that both means like the way that you ask AI, as you'll see different the varying results in the next module, but it also is going to depend on the data set. So the AI is not making up anything that isn't there. It's simply tapping into what already exists and recognizing patterns. So let's talk about the three types of AI. And I'd like to think of these as more like levels than like separate types because they really build upon each other. And the first one I'm going to talk about is rule-based AI. This type of AI uses a set of pre-programmed rules to make decisions based on input data. So again, pre-programmed rules. Where have we heard that before? Oh, that's what an algorithm is. And we talked about that in our basic terms in the last lesson. So some examples of rule-based AI are customer service. So an example is if you've ever had wanted to reach a customer service agent and you go online to their chatbot and it puts you through a series of questions like, what are you having problems with this? Does this have to do with billing? Does this have to do with your service not working, etc.? And based on the inputs that you give, there are a set of programmed rules. So it'll give you an output. It'll give you a solution to the problem regarding billing or regarding needing to speak to an agent, etc. Another example is fraud detection. So we're able to program what does fraud detection look like. Well, maybe a system is flagged if there is a certain number of withdrawals that are from foreign sources that can't be traced, etc. Spotify has a fraud detection algorithm where it was basically flagging fake streams. So it was flagging people that go to these third-party playlisting websites and buy streams to get on playlists that are essentially listening farms. So your music is artificially being blown up, but there's not actually any real human ears listening to it because it's a streaming farm. And Spotify created an algorithm to crack down and wipe a bunch of those fake playlisted tracks from their system. Another example is medical diagnosis. So again, this is talking about, or again, we see how it's able to make predictions on whether or not maybe somebody is susceptible to cancer or diabetes based on a series of patterns from their medical records. So we can see that AI has a lot of use cases and it has the ability to really transform every industry in the world as we know it in some really positive ways. And of course, in some ways that are questionable and can make us fear for the future. But the more that we know, the more empowered that we can be. And that's why I'm doing this course. So let's talk about the second level, which is machine learning. So this type of AI uses algorithms that can learn from data and improve their performance over time. Let's look at some examples. Again, we see this word algorithms coming up again. So an example would be image or object recognition. So just being able to put in like there's a font decoder. So if you don't know what a font is, there is a tool. You can Google it and take a picture of the font. You upload it to this tool, and then it tells you all of the closest fonts to that style, and then you can download them and start using them. The way that I'm using a specific font for this presentation, it's actually able to read what's in the image. Another example is natural language processing. So some of you may have heard of ChatGPT. Really, it's a AI that specializes in this language processing element, and we're going to have a whole module dedicated to that. And then predictive text. So when you go on Facebook and it's even able to tell the sentiment of somebody's post, like maybe they're getting married or they got a promotion. So it'll automatically suggest that you say congratulations. Or when you're going on on Google and you see that there's how do I, and then all of a sudden there's a list of potential things that you could search just based on that. Or on Facebook, sometimes people will be like, finish this sentence, like, all I wanted to do was, and then use your predictive text to come up with a finishing sentence. So these are all forms of machine learning AI in order to pull off these processes, right? But let's talk about now deep learning. This is a type of machine learning that uses neural networks to analyze and learn from large amounts of data. And what does that mean? And what are some use cases? Well, we have, again, image object recognition. Oh, natural language processing again. Oh, predictive text again. And that might make you think like, wait, what's the difference between machine learning and deep learning? Like they're both types of AI, right? And so that's what I'm going to break down for you here. So let's take a look at your brain. The human brain is made up of billions of neurons. Here's just a simplified example using just a few neurons here. These neurons communicate through electrochemical signals. So here we can see that there's an input and now it's sending a signal to other neurons. When we learn something, our brain creates new connections between neurons or strengthens existing ones. And this system of neurons and their connections is called a neural network. So one of the main differences between machine learning and deep learning is that deep learning involves training deep neural networks. This is an essential element. It also means that deep learning can learn to recognize patterns in data that are too complex for traditional machine learning algorithms to handle. And that means that there's a lot more data than machine learning. So it's just able to handle more data, more complex data, and it's essentially trying to replicate what's going on in the human brain, like in our biology, replicating it. I mean, we're not anywhere close, but that's why you see, Elon Musk investing in Neuralink and Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates investing in a competitor, basically a technology that would allow you to control stimuli around you just using your mind. And that sounds really scary. And it's also, on the other hand, sounds really liberating for somebody that has like severe physical disabilities where they're not able to, use their where they're not able to use their body, but still, like Stephen Hawking has like a brilliant mind. So how technology is able to bridge the gap. So again, pros and cons of both sides. To summarize, just to summarize what we learned in this lesson, we talked about the three levels of AI, the first being rule-based AI, the second being machine learning, and the three being deep learning. This is just like a very, very basic overview, but I don't want you to think of them as mutually exclusive, but rather that they build upon each other. And in summary, artificial intelligence has the potential to revolutionize many industries. The music industry is no exception. And in this next lesson, we're going to look at how the music industry is already leveraging AI.